PMLP Philadelphia. We in the building, 106.5. This is what we do. You can catch us on Twitter at US Career Seekers. We broadcasting live at the Facebook fan page. I got my man Will Martin holding that down. It's a beautiful day. Tiffany Southerland is in the building.
Yes, sir.
Rema Webb, Escape from Margaritaville, in the building. Daughtry.
J. Daughtry.
Daughtry.
Hey.
You know what? There's some Daughtry's in Philly. We'll talk about that anyway.
Uh-oh.
South Philly. Yeah. J. Daughtry in the building. Color Purple. Carla Stewart in the building. Named after my mom and her uncle. Right? What's really good. Listen, I'm really glad you guys came out today to hold us down. Thank you so very much
for having us, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. I know y'all rolling with Rema, so I was just glad y'all got here. You know, I know how she does time. Sometimes reading time just really don't work well.
You know what?
Now. When I spoke to you earlier, I was going to say 2 o'clock. I need you here at 2.
No, she was on it.
I was on it. I was waiting for that one.
It was you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to the gym too close to the time, and then y'all saw me in there maxing just quick.
I did, yeah. I was trying to stall for you and let you do what you do. Listen, man, I wanted y'all to come out because this is the Career Seeker Show, so welcome to Philly.
Thank you.
First things first. But I wanted you guys to come out just because we try to share information about careers and job search with a focus on diversity. And one of the reasons, I think it's important for people to kind of understand that anything's possible. And, just kind of looking at some of you guys' bios. I was on the internet after we spoke and everything. Man, kudos to y'all. Y'all are doing some incredible things.
Thank you.
And, even Rema, speaking about your success and the Performing Arts Training Program and things of that nature, just the stuff that you do to help people kind of establish careers in this industry. There's so many people out here that want it, and so many people are blessed to have it. But I just wanted to kind of talk about you guys' career journeys and things of that nature. So I don't want to do a lot of talking today, Tiff. I just want to kind of listen.
I know.
a little bit.
I'm so excited because this is an amazing world. Obviously, all of us interact with performing arts in some way, and so to be in the room with people who do things that people only dream of is really, really fly. Like being a lawyer is not like. This is like fly. This is talent, and that is. I'm not now. Listen.
Being a lawyer,
you just have to listen, and I barely do that. So I would love to hear. So I guess my question, I'm always interested. When did you realize that you wanted to be a professional, like performing artist?
Well, so let me see. I was probably about 7.
There you go. Talking about he didn't want to talk, right?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I was just thinking that.
Anyway.
For me, I always wanted to sing. It was just a passion of mine. I grew up in a very musical family. My passion was singing. I didn't know that I wanted to be on the stage until later in life. And I met this woman who had other plans. I wanted to sing in her pit. She had her own theater company in Chicago. And I was trying to just sing in the background. That's all I wanted to do. I was okay with that. And then she was like, you know what? If you don't read these sides, then you can have a nice day.
Explain to them what sides are.
Okay,
Hold on. Even before that, this is Carla speaking, by the way.
Yeah.
So just to let our listeners know who's speaking.
Oh, I'm Carla Stewart. I play Suge Avery in The Color Purple.
Yes.
But sides are basically, they're just little excerpts from the script. And you have this moment to just kind of see what the chemistry would be like or how you would portray that character. So it's just a little short excerpt of the script. And so I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that because I had never done that. And so she was like, you can either do this or you can have a nice day. And I was like, okay. This was me, though. I was like, all right, so the sides are right here, so where do I start? So it was like, and when I first did it, it was like, that joy that you get when you get up on stage and all those people are looking at you and you have this moment to inspire and uplift and give hope, and it's just an amazing feeling. And I was marrying the two together. I was still able to sing and I was still able to incorporate this acting thing, and it's just been a joy and a pleasure. And I always say her name is June McLean, and I just thank her for that push.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. My story is a little different. This is Jay.
You've been acting for years.
I've been doing this all my life. No, my name is Jay Daughtry. I play Harpo in The Color Purple. I also sang all of my life, but it was something that I could always do. So it was like I didn't really need to put too much effort into it. You know what I mean? Like even when it came to reading music or anything musical, if I just sat down and tried to do it, it came to me kind of naturally. So in high school, my parents put me in art school in Lakeland, Florida. I'm from Bartow, Florida. Shout out Polk County. And so we so they put me in an art school for high school, and then when it came time for me to go to college, like I knew I had this singing thing and I could do this thing, so I didn't really need to learn anything when it came to it. So I went to school for music. Humble. You hear me? But hold on, I'm gonna tell you how it turned around. I'm gonna tell you how
turn it around. Okay.
So I went to college at Bethune-Cookman University. Shout out to HBCU. So I went there for business administration with a concentration in marketing. And I got a degree in marketing. And I left there to go work for BET in DC. Got to DC, BET didn't come through. Shout out BET. So then I ended up being a banker for 5 years in Washington, DC at Wachovia Bank at the time before it turned into Wells Fargo. The banks crashed, but then I had this fallback that I knew I could do. Yeah. So I was like, let me go to New York and try to do this thing and try to make a way.
Wow.
And God made a way.
Turn around.
You're blazing, Jay.
So you said something really interesting, because you said, thanks to BET, because that may have stopped this journey for you.
It would have. It would have. Right. That's why, like, that wasn't any, shame. No shame. Like, I'm really appreciative. And I still have connections or relationships, friendships with a lot of people that work there, because we interned together with the Mass Sports Show and all this other stuff. But with Joe Claire with the Mass Sports Show. But with the connections that we have now, we're running back into each other. But I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? I'm on the side that I'm supposed to be on. So since we're talking about careers, I just want y'all to know, like, just because something is a roadblock does not mean that it's the end of a thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I see what you're doing. You in there. I see what's happening.
It's true. I always said no is not a no, it's just a not yet.
Yep. And so that's how I ended up in New York. And when I got to New York, it was like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is where you're supposed to be. And doors just started to fly open like crazy.
That's
incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
My journey's been long. I have to say I feel really blessed. This January will be 20 years on Broadway. Never ever without a show on my 7th Broadway show. So my sister said as a child I had an uncanny ability to be really focused. She said I had these like a horse with blinders on. She said you just always knew what you wanted to do, and you couldn't see anything but in front of you. You couldn't see left to right. And you never let anything get in your way. And so I started out singing in the church. The church is my foundation. Took dance lessons, singing lessons, and started out as a Civic Light Opera mini star in Pittsburgh, and went to University of Pittsburgh, studied classical music there, went to Italy to study school. So my whole life I've been constantly studying and working really hard in this profession, where there's classical music, gospel, jazz, sang in the jazz clubs to put myself through college. I've always been on my path with performing arts, and performing arts education is a passion to me too. So I've always taught along the way, as well as me learning, and that's why I have on Broadway right now too.
You've been taught here in Philly for a while, right?
I did at Freedom Theater. At one point I had 1,000 kids under my tutelage.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, and Freedom I consider my home here. Been at the Arden Theater, Wilma Theater, all of those places have been very, very gracious to me, and oh my God, if I don't shout them out, I just forgot their name. But anyway,
come back.
I'll come back.
Can we just talk about Black excellence for a second here? I just want to just shout that out.
So this is our Jay-Z correspondent here.
No, I mean, this is just, I'm just so, like, I hear so many different lessons and valuable tools. So someone encouraged you and pushed you, Carla, to try something that you might not. They saw something in you that you didn't necessarily see as an option for yourself. And I think, Jay, you mentioned like having a career in banking and then kind of falling back to a natural skill set that you had, which I think a lot of people wouldn't consider like performing arts as the fallback thing that you try to like come back to, and after exploring a traditional career. I think that's like, what made you, like, what made you hone in on that as opposed to trying to get another, like, find another traditional, not even banking, but just like secure, typical secure job, so to speak? quote unquote?
I think it was all that I had to do. Like I didn't have any. I knew that I can go get another job somewhere else. But when the banks crashed, and they put extreme pressure on, I was a small business.
So are we talking 08?
Yeah, not too long ago. Yeah, you know what I mean. So when they crashed, they put extreme pressure on all of the bankers. The quotas went crazy. You had to bring in more money than possible. So people started doing crazy stuff. So I literally had to make a decision. Okay, are you going to do something crazy? Or are you going to go that can put you in jail?
You going to jail?
Yeah.
Right.
Or are you going
up
to?
or
Because
try
no,
something different?
like literally, people were getting locked up for crazy stuff that they were doing, and it was either you're going to do that, or you're going to go do something that is natural to you. And at that point, I didn't want to. I was getting stressed out. Like my hair was falling out. Like I was losing. I was 120 some pounds. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, this is life or death. So, and at this point, you're choosing either a life that you've already had or an abundant life.
Listen.
Come on now.
Come
Let's
on.
talk about it.
So I decided to
You
go
like
with
to
the
get me
latter.
stirred up.
You know how to do it.
He know how to do
I
it.
know how to do it.
What I did was, and it wasn't an easy transition. I don't want to make it sound like it was easy. I had to teach school for a year, and I'm not a kids kind of guy.
Okay.
So I did that for a year, but my principal saw something. She saw something in me that I had recognized in myself, and she was like, listen, baby, if you ever need to be sick or you need to call out, just do it. Don't tell me what you're doing. Just do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So I would call out 3 days a week, catch a bus from D.C. to New York to audition for anything that was auditioning. I went in for Ariel one time from The Little Mermaid.
Listen.
Walked right in the room. I said, hey,
Why
make it
not?
happen.
I mean, y'all want to make a good choice.
If we need to.
So I was looking at your background though. You were in Motown, am I right?
Yeah. I was in Motown was the first big theatrical thing that I booked.
Okay.
I started off with Cirque du Soleil,
Really?
and then Cirque Dreams, which is a smaller version of Cirque du Soleil, and then Royal Caribbean. Then I moved to Japan for a year with Universal Studios, and then came back. Even that was fun. It was like when I got back to America, the day that I got back, I left my contract early in Japan. The day that I got back, I ran into a casting director named Rachel Hoffman. She was like, where have you been?
Thank you, Rachel, for
Thank you,
putting me in
Rachel.
a skeptic escape to Margaritaville.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel,
Wow.
for saving my life. So she was like, have you been in for Motown? I said, no. The next day, the actual casting director named Bethany Knox called me and was like, hey, you need to come in. And 2 weeks later, I was in Motown.
You know, so you guys bring up a valid point just in speaking about Rachel. What do you suggest to people that are maybe looking to connect with casting directors and or agents or, talent scouts? I don't know the terminology, but do you guys have any suggestions for people that are pursuing careers but kind of are stuck in a place where, look, I need somebody to help me?
This is a challenge for a lot of young people, and it's one of those things where you'll see certain people have immediate success, but you do have to work hard and almost kind of pay your dues and push. Don't say no.
Yeah.
Do your local theater, do your regional theater, teach, go to events, go to shows, meet people, go to career seekers. Every connection that you make, every person that you meet, you have no idea how that may lead to meeting someone else or being in a situation that you never thought you could be in. Stay connected, keep working hard, keep studying, take classes. I know here in Philadelphia, go to Mike Lemon, join his Actors Access thing there, go to all the auditions, go to open auditions, take classes where casting directors will be there at the end of your class to see your showcase. Do a cabaret somewhere. Keep yourself visible at all times, and don't say no. You don't know what that experience will do for you, and that experience also gives you, experience. You put it in your pocket, and you bring it out when you might need it again.
Yeah, I want to add on to that, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, jump
That
in.
when you show up, though, make sure that you are
Ready.
extremely
Correct.
prepared.
Yes.
Yeah, make sure that you are at your best. Make sure you look your best. Like, don't just come in the room just to be in the room, but make sure that when you leave the room, even though you may not get the job you went in for, they're like, oh, this guy is good for, whatever. That's what I used to do. When I came up, I was always in a suit. I was off book. Some people don't agree with that, but
What's that mean?
I didn't need to,
Memorized.
it was
Okay.
memorized. Like, I
Okay.
didn't need to have a paper in
Gotcha.
front of me, or or anything, go ahead, Carla. I don't want to cut you off there.
No, but when you say that, memorize, when you say some people don't agree with that, that's still a question that I have sometimes when I go in a room, because some directors think, oh, well, you already know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or if you have the paper, it's like, oh, you can be directed.
Yeah, see, that's for me.
Go.
That's for me. For me, I like to let you know
Look
that
at me learning real quick.
Right. I like to let you know that I'm committed to my work enough for me to get off book, and then if you give me a directive or direction, then I can take it and switch it, but I'm still off book. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need the paper to go back, and I also don't want that to be a block. You know what I mean? I don't want that to block me.
Right.
Speaking of, the reason I got on Broadway is I went in for, and Ken, you've seen all the struggle. I went in for Showboat.
Yes.
And I went through all the auditions for that. And when I got there to the final callback, they said, you know, we sorry we didn't get the show. You didn't get the show, but there's a new show we're developing, and it was called Ragtime.
Hey.
And that's how I got my start. So they put in something that was being developed, which ended up being one of the biggest shows.
Yeah.
So you just don't know.
But
don't be focused on getting to those, an agent and a manager. Yes, it will help you, but do the work.
Sure.
So when you get there, you're prepared.
Yeah, because
but do your own thing too.
It's you who's in the room. You know, they may get you in the room, but you still have to do the work. You have to represent yourself.
For 10 years, I did this without an agent.
Right.
Wow. So is there a point where someone has been pursuing this journey, pursuing this vision, and they just keep hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock? When do you gracefully bow out, if you will? Is there a time, or is there a set of questions that you have to ask yourself and you say, you know what, this might not actually be meant for me? It sounds like all of you, like things aligned for you in addition to your talent, opportunities presented themselves in a way that made sure. But for some people, even with their talent, those doors are just not opening. Is there like a point where you just say, you know what, maybe I need to be a banker?
Ask Viola Davis. Ask people who are just now making it in their 40s and 50s. You know, ask Viola Davis, ask S. Epitha, ask. There are certain people that when you look at them, they were in their 40s and 50s when they started really getting that real break. It almost has to not be an option.
So is
unless you're not eating your life, you know, unless it's affecting your life.
I mean, there's a lot of no's in this business.
But
I was just telling my friend, she was kind of discouraged about not booking, and it just comes a season where you get these no's, but I really believe in my heart that those no's prepare your heart for the joy of the next thing. So if you stay in that thing, I honestly believe you know that you're passionate about this, and you know that this is. I'm going to keep it. But honestly, because there are moments where you get those no's, but there's a song that said God did not promise us sunshine all the time. Right. You know, but it prepares us for it. There will be a little rain, but.
That joy comes in the morning.
Yeah, you know.
But she wanted to know, how long do you suffer that?
But honestly, you know if this is for you. Like if you're out here hitting the pavement and an untalented person got to know that mama just thought I was talented. Right. You know what I'm saying?
They just don't want to accept it.
But if you know
but I've seen some people, if you keep showing up, what happens is it weeds people out. So some people leave the business. Some people just, if they leave, and then when they leave, eventually you're going to step in because you just keep showing up.
But it sounds like what I'm also hearing, though, is that, you know, it's kind of one of those things where people say they're an overnight sensation. Well, no, they've been doing shows in every little town and doing things themselves for years. And then they booked a big show. Yeah. And people are like, where'd this person come from? And then they book another big show. So it just sounds like if you're really passionate about it, if you really think this is what you're here to do, you're going to continue to do it. I don't care if you're performing at, a small community theater, but you're doing the work. Right. And you're just waiting for opportunities, and you still keep taking that bus to New York. Yeah. And you still keep kind of going and doing shows and auditioning. Yeah. And eventually,
I
hopefully,
think you bow out
it
when
hits.
you no longer have the passion for it.
Yeah.
Right. That's real. And I think that because I asked that question because I think there are a lot of people who they see what they perceive to be an overnight success and they're just like, oh, well, how did they do that? And I mean, the person that came to mind as you guys were talking, Simone Missick, who was on Luke Cage, and I listened to her do an interview, and she talked about the commercials and the years and years of work that she was putting in, and then it happened to be someone saw her and called someone else, and she showed up, and then she booked Luke Cage. So I think that when you think there's so many, I'm just like, the gems are just like not stopping. Like there's so many great lessons in the story. If there is one, what was one thing that you wish you had known, like when you first kind of started in your journey, that you know now that you would give advice to someone who's kind of starting out on their career? If there's one thing that you could say.
I still consider myself a babe in this business, and I look up to people like Rema, who's been in the business a long time, and I just learned a lesson just recently that there's a lot more business to the show business, you know, and there's a lot of stroking that you have to do, like ego stroking. Sometimes you have to be humble, and I once played the role of Dorothy in The Wiz, and what she taught me, that role taught me that you just have to trust the journey. So there are a lot of people who won't humble themselves because they think they're supposed to be further than they are, instead of just trusting the journey and knowing that you're going to get to the place you're supposed to be. If you keep your feet to the ground, keep your head low, keep working to where you want to go, and that work will pave the way for you. So my whole thing is, I'm learning that there's more business to this show business that I'm doing. And then I have to be humble and trust the journey.
This is the Career Seeker Show live on WPPM 106.5 here in Philly. We are blessed today to have the presence of Rema Webb in the building, Carla Stewart, Jay Daughtry in the building. Your story is incredible, man. I can't wait for that book. That book got to come.
I'm writing it next year.
Yeah, let's do it. Come back.
All right.
Right? Listen, I wanted to speak about something that I find interesting, and it relates to careers. I have an executive search firm, and I offer people job opportunities, and companies come to me when they're looking for talent. And every job's not right for everyone. And sometimes people might be interested in something. You're like, from a career standpoint, that might not be the right move for you. How do you guys in your career, how about when an opportunity is presented and you're just like, I don't know if that's where I need to go right now. Like,
well, for me, I am a praying man and a man of faith.
Yes, God.
Amen.
Yes, and so I go inward a lot to find answers for questions like that. Because sometimes, you can think it's not right for you, but then you get in the job and you find something that you were weak in and you develop it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so a lot of times I literally have to say, well, God, listen, I need you to tell me, because me in my mind, I'm thinking no, but you know more than I know. Your thoughts are higher
than my thoughts, your ways.
Come on, Carla.
We're not starting here today.
He likes to push me.
Y'all better not start here today.
I think you like to be pushed.
She's ready.
That's why he ready. Look. Oh, well, I stay ready so I don't have to get ready.
You don't have to get ready.
That ain't in the book, but that's word.
That's word.
We can find some versions of that in there.
But yeah,
sound like a proverb to me.
I'm here for it.
No, but for real, I go inward. And for those of you who don't, believe in God, but you believe in a higher whatever power, then you have to go to that source and let that source give you the answer, because their knowledge is beyond your knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's only one God. Okay.
There's a show Sunday for that. We need to come back, right?
He like to take me.
I'll take you there. I'll take it.
Your warm up, your workout.
Got a show tonight.
I lost where we are. You did this. About how do we know if a job is for you?
Yes.
Listen, Rema said earlier, say yes to these things, because like he just said, there are some things where you just want to say no. I do not think of myself as a public speaker, but it seems like the God, the universe, everything always asks me, come speak for these children, these young people, come say something. And I'm thinking, what am I going to say? You know what I'm saying? You know, and every time I've ever said yes, I promise you, I walk away feeling so full of joy and light, and I just can't believe that I've grown in a way. It blows my mind. Like, I'm emotional thinking about it because I always want to say no, just like I wanted to tell June, no, I don't want to read these lines. I don't do that.
I think you were saying yes this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. But this helps me grow. Yes. And there's, like I said, there's more business to this show thing. And so while, yes, as I play Should, these lines are written out for me. But now I have to carry myself in a way that will show people how I got there. And if I don't get out and speak as Carla, then no one will ever know me. So I have to take these opportunities and stand on my own 2 feet with the wisdom that God has already given me, the experience that I've had up until this point, and take those moments and that experience, because there's someone on the other side of this radio that's listening and looking for that hope and that inspiration. And I will rob them of that if I say no.
But that's really good though, because I sing with a gospel group called Anthony Brown and Group Therapy.
Oh,
and we have.
Wait a minute. Wait just a moment. Okay. This most recent album.
Thank you.
All of the things.
I'm excited. We were nominated for 10 Stellas.
I just had on Glad this morning.
But we have get Glad. I'm not warmed up.
He looked at me and I wasn't ready.
But we have a song called Beyond Beyond, and it says I'm ready to go beyond beyond. And what that song means to me is that for us, we have an idea of who we are and like of what our abilities are, but there's a beyond that if you allow God, the universe, whatever, to stretch you, then you'll become something that you cannot even imagine.
And abundantly
more
what
you ever even
above what you imagine.
Asked or
thought.
Yes.
You know.
So, you know, Carla, you had it in your pocket.
Oh, you had that in your pocket too.
But yeah, man, like if you allow it to, you can go so far and be whatever and whomever you think and beyond that. If you allow life to bring you there. Which is a part of like, that's me getting on a bus 3 days out of a week, coming from a banking job. I'm like, what? A bus? Well, I got to do it. So let me go see what, you know.
But even back to what you were saying, like you were saying that sometimes you have to direct someone to go a different direction. I think in this business too, you have to be open to be flexible, because you don't know what you could learn from a different experience. And you have to humble yourself and say, maybe this person is that thing that's being sent to me that's showing me that maybe I should open myself up and try to experience something different. And don't let yourself get in your way.
Sure. You know, the big thing in the career scene now is, you know, your brand and networking and things of that nature. And I just would imagine with you guys being public figures, you know, just what's that like? And Reed, you probably can speak to this as well, because, you know, when you first started Ragtime or even Lion King, there was no social media
and branding.
Yeah, and branding yourself.
Have to worry about that.
And you know, so how do you juggle that? Like, is there somebody that you hire to do that for you, or is that something you take on yourself?
Well, you're the marketing guru. I've had to go to young people like Jamaris and different people and learn it and be committed to marketing and social media. And I did hire someone, and then my brand has developed over the years. And I had to think about, I do have a brand, and then trust that.
Gotcha.
And then now, even this 20 years later, I'm reinventing myself again. So rebranding again.
I always think about the competition that you guys must feel. You know, people that are committed to the craft. This is what you guys do, and then you'll see maybe athletes and other people get opportunities that maybe some people that have kind of committed themselves to the field were overlooked, but because someone had a name or a bigger brand, they got thrust into the opportunity. Like, that's a real thing, I would imagine.
It's huge in our industry.
It's huge in our industry because the producers will think, well, this will draw more people versus you. Yeah, you're up and coming and you're great, but we got to prove that to everybody.
Even for established artists.
So is there a frustration associated with that, and like just how's that, or is it just all right? This is part of the game.
Business. It's part of the game.
It's part of the business.
Mm.
It's frustrating if they get in there and
Don't do a good job.
yeah, I didn't say it.
You know,
That's the part that's frustrating, but also those seats are filled and our paychecks get paid from that.
Gotcha.
So you bide your time, and it's part of the business. This wasn't always the way, so I've seen that kind of grow and had to humble myself and just say it's just the way the business is and go with it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I would go as far to say is they paid their dues in some way
yeah,
to
exactly.
get the name that they have.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So it puts them in positions that they, in opportunities.
And a lot of stars are very humble because they're like, whoo, we're not used to doing 8 shows a week, working 60 to 80 hours a week. They're not being, dragged through your face, because with us, it never stops. It's press, it's marketing, it's doing the show, it's rehearsing, it's taking care of your body. It's a constant thing, and we can work up to 60, 80 hours a week. So for them, and they're like, and you guys are so good, and you know exactly what you're doing. It's very intimidating for them. A lot of them are very, very humble and wonderful to work with.
Yeah.
That's good to know. That's good.
There's a lot of sacrifice in our job that we do, especially for us who are on the road. I was just telling a friend the other day, it's very difficult because when you go to work in our profession, we have to be on all the time. So we're on with our stage managers, our co-workers, and when we come home, we have to make this sacrifice to call back home and talk to our family and all this stuff like that. But sometimes you just want to just turn off and just be, you're tired. You're
And
really
the hours
tired.
are so unconventional.
They
to other people's
are.
lives,
Yeah, they are.
So what's a typical day like if you're in the middle of where the place that you all are in now? What is a typical day or schedule like in the life of a?
Well, for me, I happen to be the dance captain of the Color Purple, which is the person that just makes sure that everyone is in their right, where they're supposed to be and doing what they're supposed to do. So I also have the privilege of making sure that the understudies, the people who cover the lead players and everybody else, have rehearsals and that they're prepared to go on at any time. So I like to say I have 10 show weeks because we have rehearsals on Thursday and Friday is rehearsal. Thursday and Friday, and then a show each night, and then 2 shows on Saturday, 2 shows on Sunday. So for me, that's what my schedule is. It's pretty much getting up, going to the gym. I read a lot and write a lot, and then to work all day.
So rehearsals are usually from 12 to 5. So when you first start a show, you're rehearsing from 10 to 6, Tuesday through Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Monday's your only day off, or Monday through Saturday, and Sunday will be your day off. And on top of that, you have to work out and learn your lines and learn all the music and learn all the choreography when you go back home.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do all of that. So your day really goes from 10 a.m. and then if you get back, if you get off at 6, you're probably studying until 10 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go into tech. In tech, you do 10 out of 12. So you're there again from midnight, from 12 to 12.
Yeah.
And then once you do tech, you go into opening. Opening includes getting ready for press, rehearsing during the day, getting all the notes. They will change the show up until the moment you go on. You could get a page and be like, learn those few lines right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action. You're on. Wow. And then once it opens, okay, you have Good Morning America, you have this press, you have this interview, you have this. Oh wait, I'm sorry, before that you preview. So you rehearse from 10 to 5 and then you do the show.
Yeah.
Or from 12 to 5 and then do the show at night. So your days are, you're working 6 days a week, usually from midnight to midnight or from 10 to 11 p.m. And on top of the press that you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go and do that too. So during those weeks, literally you can work almost sometimes up to 100 hours. Like what people can work in 1 week, we can work 2 weeks in 1 week. And go to home to families and friends and do all of that.
And still try to take care of yourself. And I think
try to keep your house clean and wash your clothes.
So that was actually going to be my next question is how. So you mentioned weeks. So how many weeks would this be at a time? 6 weeks, is it just like the length of I feel like I'm not asking very informed questions,
like,
but
the length of a contract.
Yeah,
it varies. Everything is different.
Yeah, usually you rehearsal about 5 weeks.
Okay,
but then you usually do a workshop before you get to the rehearsal. So you're doing workshops is when they're developing the show, seeing what works, what doesn't work. So you'll do that and then take some time off and lead into the show. So the process can take about 2 to 3 years.
Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a lot of people double duty where they'll do a show during the day and then do the workshop. Do the workshop during the day and do their shows at night.
Is there one thing that you must do as a part of your personal self-care routine? What is one thing that each of you do?
So I'm from the country, Polk County, Florida, as we mentioned. I have to sit in a tub, like with hot water. This is crazy, but I have to soak every night.
But you dance, so like I think that's probably a piece of just getting your body right.
Well, when y'all come see The Color Purple, you'll see how physical I am in this show. But like I literally have to sit in that tub with some good old Epsom salt.
Carla?
I don't know, really laid back. I mean, I try to have my devotion every day. Just quiet myself and just read. I just try to do that. Try is a big word, but I really try to connect every day. I'm not drawing a bath every day. I feel like that's work. So
you judging me a little?
No, it's an observation.
Okay. Different things.
I think I'm like Carla because I have a lot of energy, so the lifestyle on top of my mind always going, I need a moment where I just lay and I pray and I meditate, even if it's just for 5 minutes, but I need a minute for me to connect to something higher, just to calm my thoughts down.
Great. Real quick, so how do our listeners follow you guys? Social media, Carla?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. That's where I like to connect with the world. And I'm Ms. Ruth MZZZ because I like to sleep. Ruth RUTH MZZZ RUTH.
I'm also on Instagram at Mr. No, I'm not.
No,
it's
J.
J period Daughtry. J period Daughtry, and on Facebook at Jamarice JAMARICE.
If you don't mind, could you spell the last name for our listeners?
Okay, DAUGHTRY. Now y'all follow me. I just did a lot of work with just spelling that name.
Miss Rema Webb.
And I'm just REMAWE, B as a boy, B as a boy. Rema Webb on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I like Instagram better.
Outstanding.
Me too.
Listen, we did it again, Tiffany Southerland.
This was excellent. Thank you all so much for
Thank
doing
you.
this. So good.
We do this every Wednesday from 4 to 5 live on WPPM 106.5 here in Philly. We also stream live at phillycam.org and broadcast live on the East Coast Executive Facebook fan page. I really, really, really would like to offer my sincerest thanks to Miss Rema Webb for making the introductions and making this possible today for Carla Stewart and Jay Daughtry to come out. No, Jay Daughtry to come out. To come out to the Career Seeker Show today, man. This has been so much fun. Have a great deal of respect for what you guys do, and thanks for coming and sharing it with us here at WPPM LP Philadelphia. Tiff Sal.
Thank you so much. It has been a blessing, and look forward to seeing you all next week.
Yo, Gee, is it a wrap?
It's a wrap, bro.
Man, let's get out of here, man.
Let me take a picture of y'all.
Think more and need so much more. No, it letting me for making sure I see.
Don't you love it?
Okay.
Down on earth to my
Shut up.
people
Hey,
in
you're
the
just
world
social
so
media
much
person?
more.
You're right.
Can I get a picture with all y'all?
Come on, Jay, we gonna take a picture of you all. We grab after the song's over. It's called.
Come on, Jay. Is there a rest of us? Can you rap on
Rap. I'm on the. Don't put me on the thing.
No, it's on.
Jay, and I don't know how you do everything either.
I just do
The
what I
hustle
can.
is real, man.
It's real.
The hustle is real. It never ever ends.
I'm so inspired. Like, I'm so inspired.